Hi friends, this is Neeraj here once again, and in today's topic I would like to talk about the concept of this government uh, debt to GDP, this ratio of each country's government debt to GDP. If you remember, in last video we had talked about how some countries are able to push the stimulus and throw money for boosting the businesses and boosting the economy in during in this economic distress times, and how some countries are not able to do because of their currency being not in the reserve currency and not accepted as the traded currency. So the same concept, if we take forward in today's video, I would like to talk about this government debt to GDP. So let me give you some of the few countries name along with their what is that ratio of that debt to GDP of this each country. So first is Japan. The Japan has 238% of the government debt to GDP. Means Japanese government on its head has 238% of the GDP. So if suppose Japan's GDP is $100, then it has incurred $238 as a debt also. It has taken from the outside world or whatever it is called, that the government has to repay. So it is called that government debt to GDP ratio. Japan is the highest in terms of this highest debt to GDP. Then the second is Greece, 177%. Third is Lebanon, 151% of its GDP is debt. Then fourth is Italy, 135%. Fifth is Singapore. Then even Bhutan and Mozambique are at around 110% of their debt. They have on their books debt as to GDP. And USA surprisingly is 107%. So USA also has higher debt than what it produces. So GDP is that production of that particular country. So it has more debt. It has to repay uh, to the lenders more than what it produces. It's in simple terms, if we call this ratio of government debt to GDP. And here, please note that we are not talking about corporate debts. Means each country, suppose in Japan, so many of these corporations like Nippon and all these things, we are not talking about what is the debts on their book. We are talking about what the government of each country has taken debt to run the government against the whatever the output of that particular country, it's that is GDP. So how much percentage of that, higher or less than the GDP, the debt is on their books of that particular country. So USA is 107%, UK is 81%. So out of $100 of GDP, $81 is the debt. So $81 like UK has to pay to its lenders. So this is that concept in simple terms. And India is also higher at 70%. And China surprisingly is at 50% only GDP compared to all these things. And the lowest in the world is one of the lowest is Russia, Russian Federation. It is only at 14.5% of its GDP. So, in a way, you can say that it is much less dependent on the what is happening in this economic fluctuations or economic shocks. That country is little more insulated or more protected from the economic shocks compared to that the countries which is having higher government debt as compared to their GDP. So now, taking this concept, what actually I am trying to take you to this by talking about is that surprisingly I have also noted down some of these observations in the data, and some surprising data is that most of these countries who has very high debt to GDP, but still it is considered as an advanced economy or advanced country, and their currency is into that reserve basket currency where it is internationally accepted basket of currency. It is taken as that currency. It's because of these two parameters. These two parameters are balance of trade position and current account position. So now balance of trade or current account is basically, in simple terms, if I will explain you, is that whatever country sells to the outside, and whatever country buys from the other countries outside. So that difference between export and import is called current account or the balance of trade. Okay, so if a country has a higher balance of trade or positive balance of trade and positive current account surplus, means its value of goods which is exported is more than the value of goods it imports, and it is in a much better position compared to the other countries vis-a-vis. So now you talk about Japan. Even though with 238% of debt compared to its GDP, means its debt is higher by 238%, but still its currency is into that currency. Yen is a international currency, because, and it is much more insulated to the economic shocks, because if you look at the Japan's economy in last many years, almost a decade, it is running into a kind of a deflationary economy, where there is no growth, no inflation, and not much GDP growth also. But still, it is one of the leading and richest countries because of its manufacturing capabilities. And it has high progresses into the industrial revolution and industrial manufacturing capacities and technology. In the same way, if you take the case of Italy, though it is 135%, its debt is much higher than what its GDP is, but still it has a, surprisingly, it is also a balance of trade is positive and current account is surplus. So that is also the reason it's still considered to be the advanced country, or it is, in a way, it is a part of the EU, not just because of this its geography, but it's because of its balance of trade and current account surplus position also. Now take the another example, classic example is Singapore. Singapore's debt is also 126%, means it's higher than the GDP, but it's, again, here the common point is balance of trade is positive and current account is surplus that country has. So it has a higher value of exports as compared to the amount which is it imports. Now only USA and UK, if you look at, they run negative, little bit of a negative trade surplus and the negative current account balance. Now coming back to India. India is 70% of debt to GDP. So out of $100, if it is a GDP, $70 is it has taken as a debt which it has to repay to the lenders. So it's also a highly leveraged, you can say. But why India is in vulnerable position as compared to, say, Japan or Italy or Singapore or USA, UK, all these countries which is much higher debt to GDP? Because of its negative balance of trade position and the current account deficit also. So it means that India is buying goods which is much higher in value, or the total value of the goods imported by India is much higher as compared to its export of the value of goods, and it is into the negative current account position and negative balance of trade. Now even you take China, if you take Russia, so they are all into this positive balance of trade position and positive current account surplus. And as I told you, that concept of current account surplus and the balance of trade is very simple, that if a country exports more compared to what it imports in terms of value, it is into the higher positive balance of trade, it is called, and it runs at the current account surplus. So in this, what is the conclusion which I would like to, what I would like to point out is that if going forward, what I understand and why my suggestion, my solution according to my view is, if India has to progress or come to that point of, say, Japan or Singapore or USA or UK, or even to the point of say China or Russia in comparison to its growth, it has to have more trading. Currently, what we are focused is on that we just want, India is currently focused on that it should have the manufacturing, more and more capital investment should happen in its country, all the manufacturing should shift to its country. That is one part. But if we are not able to that, the first part, if you look at most of these countries, is that they all have a very relaxed or a very not a very stringent what do you call that trading or customs regime, in the sense that it is much easier to import or export something from all these advanced countries as compared to India. So contrary to the belief of say that we should have all the manufacturing only happening and then we should export it, my personal suggestion is that that can also wait, because manufacturing, shifting of manufacturing and increase of industrial base is a long term concept and it takes time. But to start with is that we should open up our borders for trading. We as a nation are not very trade friendly nation, because we have one of the very highest regime of customs tariffs on any of the imports, and also it's not very easy to import things into India, and because of these higher custom tariffs, the goods which is imported from India, which is imported into India becomes very very costly. And because of that also, and because of our various tax structures and various layers of tax structures and various tariff structures, we as an economy, we are not competitive. We don't become competitive for exporting things. So what we should do first is that we should, without worrying about that how the domestic industries will suffer or what will happen to domestic industries, we should understand that once we open up borders or we make it trading much more easier, and the customs and the tariffs which we bring down to a reasonable level with this customs duties and everything, it will become we will be progressing much faster as compared to say only allowing or only inviting capital investments. So this is in short my suggestion to any country, or the countries like India which want to come up and do progress, is to allow more trading, more merchandise trading, in short. Allow more merchandise trading, and so allow more merchandise import and more merchandise export of its goods, rather than just manufacturing. And that is that in short. And before say goodbye, I would again request all of you, all the viewers, that if you like it, you please subscribe it, you please share it with maximum friends. And you know that it takes a lot of effort and research and time also to make this, do research and to make videos and to transmit it to everybody. So it's my request is that to sustain my channel, and also to if you like this independent views and independent views about everything, then if you want, I would request you to donate to my channel for sustaining my channel and for sustaining this independent research. All these details, how you can donate, whether you are in India or whether you are outside India, all the details is there, or any donation is welcome. So that's it from my side. Thank you very much. This is Neeraj here once again from Moscow. See you.